Peace and greetings. This is Artis, and this is the Artis Smith Yoga Podcast. Peace and greetings. This is Artis. So this is podcast number 5. What is a yogi? Okay, what is a yogi? So first we'll look at the definition of the word yoga. So the definition of the word yoga is union. That's your first definition, is union. There's also an aspect of separation, but that's something we'll get into in another episode, in another podcast. We're working with the definition of union right now. So a yogi is a person who works with union, right? A yogi is a person who works with union. What is this person bringing together? A yogi brings together their spiritual life with their a yogi does not have a separate spiritual life. Okay? There's no separation. Their whole life is a sadhana, is a spiritual practice. When they wake up in the morning, that is when it starts. The actual practice of sadhana, their actual spiritual practice, starts as soon as they wake up in the morning. Okay? And it doesn't end until you go to bed at night. And sometimes it's in the dreams. When you separate, when you say this is my regular life and this is my spiritual life, one of them suffers. Okay? One of them suffers. When you combine the two together, when you make your life a spiritual life, when you make your everyday actions spiritual actions, then both of them combine. Both of them come together. So the question is, how do you do that? How do you make your everyday life spiritual? The first thing that you want to do, when we're talking about working on being a yogi, right? The first thing you want to do is start a spiritual practice. Start a sadhana. And it doesn't have to be something super elaborate, something very simple. Make it the first thing you do when you get up in the morning. If you don't have a lot of time in the morning, just take maybe 5 minutes, 4 minutes. And so I'm gonna start you off. Here's something really simple to get you started, right? Because you don't want to jump into the deep end right off. Because there'll be a tendency you'll try this whole big thing. Like, okay, tomorrow morning I'm gonna get up and then I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do this. And you have this whole list that you're gonna do, and it becomes overwhelming. You're forcing your body and mind to do something that they have not agreed to. You're forcing your body and your subconscious mind to do something that they have not agreed to. What do I mean? So you come up with this idea of, okay, I'm going to start my spiritual practice tomorrow. I'm going to get up in the morning and I'm going to do yoga and I'm going to do meditation and I'm going to, burn puja. I'm going to do all of this stuff, and I'm going to go for a run. You set up the whole list of things you're going to do first thing in the morning. And I'm going to get up at 4 a.m. You're hyped. You're ready. I'm going to get up at, let's do this. I'm going to get up at 4 a.m. And then when 4 a.m. comes, the body, you wake up, you're like, okay, here we go. It's 4 a.m. But the body and the mind and the subconscious mind that controls the body most of the time is like, you didn't talk to us about this. You know what I mean? No, I want to stay in this nice, warm, cozy bed. And then you eventually give in. You eventually have that, oh, okay, maybe tomorrow I'll start it. Okay, today, tomorrow I'll do it tomorrow, and you go back to sleep, right? Or maybe you get up and force your way through it, and then the next morning you're like, man, I remember how difficult it was yesterday. I'll put it off. Start with something nice and simple. Get up in the morning. Start with 5 minutes, okay? If this isn't something that you normally do, start off really slow. Start off easy. 5 minutes. So get up in the morning and sit down in a place with no sound. You're going to have to make sacrifices, right? In order to work on your spiritual practice, to work on your sadhana. But just small. Make it small and let it grow, okay? So get up early in the morning before everybody else, okay? 5 minutes. Find a place in your house, wherever you are, that you can sit for 5 minutes. And you meditate for those 5 minutes. Now, again, there's a whole um, process, a whole list of things that you can do to facilitate your meditation: altars, candles, incense, bells, all kind of things, right? Keep it simple, right? Just find a little comfortable space to sit and have a little timer on your phone for 5 minutes, okay? Sit it down. Maybe you're sitting on the floor. Maybe you're sitting in a chair. Just make sure your back is supported. Have the timer sitting for 5 minutes. Sit there. Close your eyes. Make sure you're sitting upright so you don't fall back asleep. Don't do it in the bed. Get out of the bed. Close the eyes. Think about, now, this is where we get into mantras and all that kind of thing. I'll get into mantras I'll touch on them really quickly. A mantra is a word or a phrase that you can repeat over and over again that helps you to tap into your subconscious mind. That's what a mantra is. That's what it does. So you can create a mantra. A mantra can be something as simple as I on the inhale and am on the exhale. I am. I am. Just repeating that over and over again. Or you can look and find a Sanskrit mantra, something that has been used for thousands of years. Or you can just create something. I am happy. You know, any I love my wife, or somebody's name. You know what I mean? Anything that's going to help you to bring your mind to one point of focus, and it's something that brings you joy, right? So you've got the mantra. You're repeating it over and over again, and you're sitting down by yourself early in the morning with the timer, only 5 minutes. The timer goes off, you get up, and then you go about your day. Okay? What you have done is started to work a trail. Okay? There's a term, a Sanskrit term called abhyasa. Abhyasa is training. Abhyasa means training, right? And what it's talking about is training your mind and your body. So you remember when I was saying your mind, your subconscious mind and your body did not agree to what you had planned. All of these elaborate things you planned on doing first thing in the morning, your mind, your subconscious mind and your body didn't agree to that. So you're going to get resistance. But, that little 5 minutes, the mind and the body are like, okay, well, all right, 5 minutes is cool. I can sit for, you have to negotiate, right? Negotiate. Okay, 5 minutes is okay. And what you're doing is you're working that trail. You're working a groove in the mind, in the body. And then eventually what you're going to find is that you're going to pop up. Okay, up. You're going to wake up and you're going to sit down and you're going to do your 5 minutes. Throughout the day, you are going to experience the clarity that you had when you were sitting in your meditation in the morning. throughout the day. You'll be able to tap back into it. You'll be able to take a moment and maybe daydream for a moment and think about yourself sitting in your space in the morning, and it's going to bring you to that meditative space. From there, okay, from the 5 minutes, start adding to it. Start adding little things to it. Okay, maybe you burn an incense. Maybe you do it a little bit longer. Maybe you have a specific space that you have set up an altar or something like that. So start adding to it, right? It's gonna eventually expand out. Now, turning the spiritual practice into life, into everyday life, like, right, like we were talking about yoga union. A yogi brings all that together. Why are you going to work? If you work a job, if you have a job, and I think the majority of the people that are going to watch this video have a job. So I'm talking to people who work. And if and I mean that if you are a householder, if you are a um, person who takes care of the house, you take care of the children, you know, take care of the home, wash dishes, clean clothes, clean, that is can be one of the hardest jobs. That can be harder than working a 9 to 5. Is harder than working a 9 to 5, taking care of the house. But anyway, what your job? Why are you doing your job? Ask yourself the question: why am I doing this? Okay, you could be doing it so you can take care of yourself. Okay, when you take care of yourself, you better yourself. You automatically help the people around you. When you make yourself better, you're working on this. You're working at a job to make money, so you can eat, so you can keep the lights on, so you can um, provide service. Okay, so why do you work? Why are you working? That's the question you want to ask yourself. You're, who are you working for? What is your purpose? So the and I talked about this in a previous video. Everybody is here for the same reason on this planet, in this universe, possibly. Everybody's here for the same reason. It's to serve. You just have to find what your service is. Okay? So you're talking about you're working a job. Say, for instance, that you're a person, you are doing the work for someone else. You're providing a service to someone else. Okay? And so, therefore, you can come to the understanding when we're talking about yogi, talking about union, bringing things together. What I do for you, I do for me. If I help you, it's helping me, right? Because we're all one. So you're working a job. Say, for instance, that you work in a kitchen and you cook food for people, right? The energy, love, attention, awareness that you put into the food that you give to the people helps those people. You're in service of those people. You're doing a service. You're doing work. You're doing spiritual work. If you work at a clothing store, right? You're helping people find clothes. You're helping people try on clothes. You're giving joy to people. People look at, oh wow, man, I like the shirt. I needed the shirt. It feels good on me. You are showing them the shirt. You're selling them the shirt. This person comes up to the front. It's like, okay, I want to buy this shirt, right? You are handling the energetic transaction of the money that they're giving to you to put into the register. right? That all of that energy, the joy, the positive energy of them buying a garment that they want, that they like, you're facilitating that process, right? You're in service. You're in service, doing your practice, doing your spiritual practice, doing your sadhana. Whatever job that you are doing, you transfer the idea of the energy that you're giving out to do the work, the idea of the energy that you're giving out to do the work that's going to benefit, it's there to benefit other people. It's there to serve other people. Keeping in mind, everything that you do is there as service to other people, even when it's something that may seem it's only you're only doing it for you. When you sit down and do that meditation in the morning, it might seem like you're only doing that for you, but you're doing that for everybody around you. It's going to help to make you an even more mindful and aware person that you already are, which is just going to add benefit to everyone around you, right? And that is how it becomes, that is how you can turn your life into a spiritual practice. That's how you become a yogi, right? A yogi is not necessarily a person who is living out in the wilderness, living in a mountain, in a cave. There's a Yogananda, a famous Indian guru that came to the United States like in the 1800s, or the late 1800s, early 1900s, I think. He said that the man or woman who goes out into the mountains to study and to meditate has lost their way. They're lost. A person who dives completely into secular life, into everyday life, is lost. You have to have one foot in, one foot out, right? That's what he said. One foot in the um, spirit, one in the secular, because they go hand in hand. They go together. They combine together. So you have to mix. You have to get up in the morning and go to work, deal with other people, talk to other people. And in that way, you are doing you're doing the real work. It's, to a certain extent, it's easy to run away from everybody, right? It's harder to be here and deal with everyday life. It's harder, more difficult to do it, but it's more beneficial. In the end, it's more beneficial. Nobody wants to be alone. Nobody. I was talking, my wife and I were having this conversation the other day. As much as people, you know, talk about, I can do it all myself. I don't need no man. I don't need no woman. I'm good by my. They're lying to themselves. Everybody needs somebody, right? And it doesn't have to be a spouse or a significant other, because that might not be for you, might not be in the cards for you. But another person, a close friend, a brother, sister, cousin, everybody needs somebody to bounce life off of, right? No one wants to be lonely. No one wants to be lonely. And when you go out to the mountains and you're missing out on life. And then again, when you are here in this um, in the quote unquote reality, you can get lost in that. You can It can become empty. You can have the wrong friends. You can deal with the wrong people. You can have the wrong spouse for you, the wrong spouse for you, right? And so you have to be able to mix that spiritual life in there, because you'll be able to see these things when you start working on your sadhana. You start doing your meditation, you start doing some yoga. It's going to open up your mind. So the yogi is a person who brings it all together, right? They bring it all together. They bring spiritual life, secular life, they bring it all together. So, any questions, comments, or concerns about that, you know what to do. Until then, my friends,